Which one?
So I mean, if you want, we can talk about the opinion piece. I'm open for whatever. We can keep it tight. There was just the I think I linked the story to you twice. It was about the couple who were helping the homeless guy that opened the GoFundMe for him. And now we're at the point where he's suing them because they haven't given him the money.
Wait, wait,
And
wait,
it's this
wait,
whole dramatic thing.
wait. So let's start from the beginning, because this sounds ridiculous.
Okay, so it starts off with this girl who she runs out of gas or something happens to her vehicle. And this homeless guy comes up and, engages with her and sees that she has a problem. He only had $20 in his pocket. So he says she can stay in the car while he'll go get her gas and come back.
Right.
So he literally goes and spends his last 20 bucks to buy her gas and help her. So
Okay.
she's like, oh my God, this is the nicest thing ever. This guy needs help. He's a veteran. He's fallen on hard times. Here's a GoFundMe to pay it forward to this guy.
Right.
So in the meantime, there's a lot going on. They let him stay at their house. They say they're gonna open up a trust in his name for the money. They're gonna buy him a house or give him some sort of housing. They're going to get him a car, his favorite type of car. There's all this stuff that they plan on doing with the money to benefit him.
Right.
So fast forward to now, and I don't know if it was the last day or two, but speed forward, the homeless guy has declared that he has not been given the money that they said that they were going to give him, or they have not bought him the things they said they were going to. And he's
Okay.
charging them with using the money for themselves
Okay.
and not giving it to him. And literally a judge just ruled that they have to give the guy the money.
Wow. Really?
So yeah,
I guess my question is, all the things that they said they were going to buy him, was that wrapped up in the GoFundMe?
yeah, in the
Okay.
GoFundMe they give a description of the things that they were going to do or wanted to do.
Okay.
And there's a lot of questions too because the judge also said not only do they have to give them what's left of the money because it's what's left now. It's not the full amount that was originally there. It's what's left. So they raised like $400,000, and
Wow.
then on some TV show or some interview, they said there was like I think over 200,000 or near 300,000, something like that on this interview. But in the actual trial, they were like, no, there's only like 150. So the judge is like, so you're going to give him the 150, and you're going to tell me what you did with everything else because they can't recount for it. They don't know what happened to it.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
kind of proving his point that they were probably using it.
Yeah.
But so there's this kind of like back and forth now because the argument on their end is that they originally got this money for him. They wanted to set up the trust. They bought a camper for him to live in that they put on their land, on their house, so he could have his like own place while
Right.
staying there. Um, and they did give him a car, but it wasn't the car he wanted. And there's this whole thing about like the car may have been like sent back or sold. The camper may have been sold. There's just all this stuff going on. But the crux of their issue is they gave him straight up $25,000, just like of the money. It's like, here's some money, do what you need, get some things ready, whatever. He
Right.
blows it all on drugs, like 25,000. It's like drugs, liquor, and then he may have gave some money to like family of his, and it's gone in 2 weeks.
Okay, but that
So,
doesn't.
so they're like, so to them, they're like, we're just facilitating his habit. So then what they do after that is that they say, okay, well, we'll give you the rest of the money if you can go through rehab and, get off the drugs and stuff like that. And then we'll give you the money when we know you're sober.
Okay.
So he fails out of rehab, just
Okay.
doesn't try to do it at all. And then they feel like, okay, well, we'll never be able to really trust you with this money. We'll just keep it in this trust account until whenever. And that's kind of the problem because there's no timeline or time frame on when this money is going to go to this man due to these rules or conditions
That they've
we're
added
creating.
after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are. But like I said, it's over now. The judge ruled that they have to give over the rest of the money. They have to figure out what happened to the other money, and I'm pretty sure if they can't, he'll probably make them pay that to him.
Yeah, because, that's. I mean, it's on one hand, I can see them like not wanting to facilitate, the drug use and things like that, but that's something you probably should have checked on before making this entire GoFundMe. Like your heart was in the right place, but you done
Yeah,
fucked up. Like you're gonna give a homeless man $400,000 to go kill himself with drugs and alcohol and
yeah,
hookers. Like,
yeah.
sorry for
So
you.
this is one of those interesting things too, because when you're looking at like it going down the middle on both sides about how people feel about it, there's some people who are just 100% in the camp that these people utilize this man to make money for themselves, essentially. Regardless, there's a lot of people who feel like they made this whole story up, not made it up, but they are using him in that story to give themselves money. Um,
Okay.
and then on the other side, you have people just seeing this as, and this is why I don't help motherfuckers anyway. Fuck this shit. So I'm just kind of like,
That
well,
is
what good does.
that is an interesting split because I would have thought it had been like people who were like, this is why you don't, this is why you don't be nice to people, and the other half saying, that the homeless guy deserves the money, not that they were playing him for money and fuck you or fuck trying to help people. That's an interesting divide that I didn't
Yeah,
expect.
it's less he deserves the money and more it's clear to them that, like it's more of a he deserves the money because they were just using him,
I
not
see.
just that he just flat out deserves the money because it's in
Right.
his name
Right.
kind of thing. So it is interesting, and I'm sure there's plenty of people making that argument, but it seems like that's more the train of logic than that. So I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, yeah, I'm on the side with the other people. Fuck helping homeless folks. Fuck y'all. Try to get. I mean, when was the last time you had $25,000 thrown in your fucking styrofoam cup, bitch? Fuck you. God damn it. So whatever it is. Shit,
25
as long as your ass didn't have no access to no computer relationship between them and the actual homeless guy kind of deteriorated. They were sitting on all this cash and it just started just was like, you know what? Vacation to Europe.
right.
Eh? Like, I feel like it just eventually got to them. Whereas if this was something else where like the guy came through with flying colors, he was through rehab, he's like living in a cute condo downtown now. He's got like his hipster beard cut, like
Right.
he belonged this homeless chic, and he was great. It'd be a completely different story. I do really think it would be completely different. But
Yeah.
that's not the timeline we went into here. We went
It
into this other timeline. So
it and it's interesting because like on one hand, you've got people like the homeless guy doesn't deserve it anyway because he's gonna blow it on alcohol and drugs, which is what he did.
right.
Okay, fine, but then that doesn't mean that the people who made the GoFundMe for him can use his money for vacations or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're doing the
Yeah.
exact same thing he did, except for on probably more legal shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so I mean, especially because there was so much less money too. I think that's also why the judge awarded it to the
Yeah,
guy because at that point it's pretty clear you guys misused it.
yeah,
Because I mean, they bought a camper, they bought like an old car, they gave him $25,000, and that's X amount of money. But there's clearly not that much. Like whatever is the remaining is clearly not there.
right, right.
What did you do? And that was kind of his whole point was that like it's clear they're using the money,
hmm
and they were. I feel like it would have been completely different. They were like, yeah, judge, it's all there in a trust fund for him. We're really waiting for him to get better. We care about this dude. Then it'd be a completely different story.
Well,
I
I,
think.
I, I still think because the terms and conditions, because uh, the terms and conditions under the GoFundMe were that they were going to do these things, and it doesn't matter what he uses the money for. Like they said
Mhm.
they were going to do this for him. Like this is technically his money.
Yep.
So at some point in time, I mean, even because if the GoFundMe said we give him these things if he cleans himself up and blah 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 blah, that's an entirely different story.
Yeah.
But the terms and conditions of the money was that we're going to give this to him, full stop. So even if they had the money and were holding it, I think the judge still would have awarded him anyway because legally he's entitled to that money. The judge may say like, I don't think you deserve this. You're just going to kill yourself, but fucking whatever. The law's on your side.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how that would have played out.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, gotta go time travel and like jump onto the next timeline and see how that played out. Pull
I
some
mean, he'll be like dead next week. I mean,
pull some Steins Gate and jump over to the next timeline real quick.
I mean, I'll be honest. I ain't worried about him. It's just it. I don't know. I have a weird thing with homeless people, so I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a whole other thing for me.
Yeah. So when I was at UAT, God, forever ago, we went to I want to say E3. It was in not St. Louis, not San Diego. What's the other San out there? Los Angeles. It's not even a San to begin with. Fuck.
All right.
So it was in Los Angeles. So it was my first time being in like a humongous city like that, right? And there's a lot of homeless people just in the downtown area, like way more than I've ever seen before, right? And so of course, little old me was like, oh, these poor people. So like I was always given like, oh, I got $1, and here I got like give someone $1, walk 2 feet, give someone else another $1, walk 2 feet, give someone else $1, right? And then eventually, I think I just ran out of money. I was like, I don't have any more money. Like, I don't know what to do. And this is like day one. I haven't even gone to E3 yet, right? And so
there's a whole new shift of homeless people tomorrow.
Right.
So you gotta replenish.
And after that, I think I got really, really drunk, which was an entire other story. But I drank so much, I got so sick that I couldn't eat anything. But I didn't know that before I started eating. So I like woke up and I was like, oh, I feel good. I'm going to eat me some lunch. And I was like, oh, I can't eat anything because I drank nothing but alcohol for the past 48 hours, right? And so like we had to go to the airport that day, and I can't take food on the airplane. So I just gave it to some homeless lady, and that was like the happiest day of her life. But going there in subsequent times, we went to multiple E3s and GDCs. I just got desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Because 99.9% of the time, if you just say no, they'll be like, okay, fine. Sometimes if you just ignore them, they'll be like, okay, fine too. But I think that there are other means to help the homeless versus me giving them money, right? Just because we have if we have homeless people on the street, there is a much broader issue at hand that my 50 cents or $2 is not going to help, right? It's not that I don't want to help them, it's that the action of me giving them money doesn't help them. It doesn't help the overall situation. And that's how I kind of look at it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I just also, I don't know. I always have to ask myself, how did you get here exactly?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, especially when you're living in like California or something like that, where like you got a normal job and then you lose your job and then you go on unemployment, and unemployment isn't enough to pay the rent. And then you're behind 1 month, then 2 months, then you're evicted, then you're homeless. Like I can see like the snowball kind of effect in really expensive places. But then that also is like, so you ain't got no friends, you ain't got no family, you ain't got no one you can stay with, you have no one you can roommate with. Like, there's some part of this that's like, there's some interesting bridges that are either non-existent or burned down to land you here. And then, of course, there's a problem where a lot of these people are just mentally ill.
Right, that was going to be my point. I think the majority, God, I saw this study many, many years ago that shows that the majority of homeless are mentally unstable in some way, shape, or form. And either because they can't afford to get themselves help, they don't know that they need help, or their family can't give them help, or they've been rejected by the family. There's a lot of things there, but the common denominator is mental health, right? The mental health is not there. And I think if we improve our mental health system because it is atrocious right now,
Yeah.
just overall in the United States. We fix that, and I don't want to say because then you get this entire thing. If there are some places where like the mentally ill do go, but even those facilities are terrible and sometimes even worse than living out in the street in the first place.
Sure.
Um, there's it's a giant web of problems that
Sure.
needs to be addressed, right? That I think that
Right.
us two talking about it, it doesn't even scratch the
No,
surface
no,
of what's going
it won't.
on. Yeah.
No, we don't get there. But it's like, even that situation where you're mentally ill or something's wrong with you, usually you have someone to rely on or be there for you,
I mean,
or like you
if
could possibly
if
be
that
someone's dependent
if
because you can't take care of
if
yourself.
that
Like
were the
there's
case, we wouldn't have this many homeless people. Like, I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but that isn't the case for the majority of people, given how many homeless people with mental illness we have.
yeah,
So something is wrong in that,
yeah.
approach.
No. Well, I don't know if something is necessarily wrong. I just think it's unfortunate
Oh, I
that,
see.
yeah, that this is where you kind of end up despite your
Oh,
issues and problems.
gotcha. I understand.
Um, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Because I don't know, that'd be very interesting to like go back and like try to figure out. I don't wonder if there's probably a documentary on it somewhere that probably like goes back in time and like recounts someone's steps into this situation or
Right.
what happened that got them there. Because it'd be very interesting to see. But it's just like I'm thinking like, God, would I ever be homeless? It's like I just have too many people I know
Yeah.
that like probably wouldn't want me to be homeless. But then if I was like, okay, well, I have issues and I'm crazy on top of it, then I'm like, how long could they deal with like, it's just this thing where hopefully we'll figure it out. But yeah,
Right.
mental issues for sure. We're all crazy.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, like at least we're insanely neurotic.
Yeah. Turn that up. Turn this down.
Are we recording already? And we didn't
Welcome,
do an intro.
welcome to episode 4 of Two Cups of Black Coffee.
We still can't do the intro in the beginning, guys. You should be used to it by now, though.
Right. My name is Mo. That's Alazar, and you've just heard us talk for about 10, 15 minutes on a topic that we just weren't going to talk about,
This is
apparently.
why you can't get black folk together. We had agenda points to go over, and we just divert on this whole other thing.
Right. That's
It's a very
fine.
interesting story, and it's very cool. Like if you guys read it or you've been hearing about it, to give us your take on
Mhm.
it. And again, just to go back, that was
Yeah.
about the couple who helped the homeless guy with the GoFundMe. All the way for it to lead to them being sued by that homeless guy to give him money. It's just a very interesting kind of story, and I wonder what you guys think about it.
Yeah. All right. I may have to adjust the volume in post, but that's fine. Whatever. All right. Like I said, I'm Mo. That is Alazar. And we're just getting together, talking about what we've been going on, what's been going on in the week between us and the news, things like that. It's going to be kind of a short episode, hopefully, because furry migration is going on here in Minneapolis. It starts tomorrow. I got a hotel room all booked up. I still got to pack. I'm moving out of my place next month. So the landlord has people coming in and like looking at the place. So I got to clean my place up because if they say, "Oh, I'm gonna show the place on Friday or Saturday," I don't want my drunk ass having to come back over here to kind of clean this place up.
Right.
So I got a lot on my plate between now and like when I wake up tomorrow. So we're gonna try to keep this short. As you can see, it's been about 15 minutes, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
I will watch the clock to ensure that we don't go our usual 3 hour line.
All right, so let's just jump right into the news. I'm just gonna try to keep this kind of short. Oh, let me link this to you really quick. So the biggest thing that has happened is Nike's advertisement with uh, what's his first name? Shit, I should know this.
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. I knew his last name, but I can't remember his first name.
Yeah.
Um,
Set the Fords on fire.
actually, no. Read that. Oh, you are right. You are right. I'm dumb. I'm
Yeah,
dumb.
no, no, it's time. It's time for the yep.
Yep. Yep.
Set the
Uh,
console. All right, good.
so so Nike ran this ad. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. Um, pretty much saying, well, actually, let me look at it. Uh, Nike ad. I should have had this up,
I
but
think they just released the ad. I think the actual commercial aired either yesterday or the day before. It wasn't very long,
hmm.
but the controversy started as soon as Nike announced that he was going to be a part of it.
Oh,
Because it's like 30th anniversary. Yeah, 30th anniversary of the slogan "Just Do It."
yeah.
So it's like not just him, it's like Serena Williams and Shaquille Griffin and a bunch of other people who are all a part of it too. And they all had like these little pictures, and Collins was on there. And so, freak out. That's essentially what happens. Um, so that led to, and I don't know how many people are actually doing this. This is kind of the thing where you have like these counter movements.
Right.
Like, first off, there was the picture of someone who set their Nikes on fire. This is in the middle of the grass, it's just burning there. And he's like, burn your shit. And then there are some other people who are simply just cutting the Nike logo off their clothes. So I
Right.
mean, they're just flashing nips at people down because the Nike logo's gone. But anyway, there's a lot of people mad about it, and that's what some of them did. Who knows how many there truly were? I'm sure that's a minority of people. Um, and I mean, there were some interesting effects. You know, Nike got a big plunge in their stocks immediately afterwards.
Mm.
Trump, I think, did Trump mention something? I think Trump may have said
Yeah,
something
Trump mentioned
briefly.
something.
Um, but I mean, long story short, anytime there's any boycott like this, it so far it's never long lasting.
Hmm.
It's never long lasting. Yeah, some people are upset about it. Yeah, the stock's gonna go down. Yeah, the people are going to feel vindicated, like they did something, and then the shit stabilizes a few months later, and then a lot of times it goes up more.
Yeah.
And a good part of this that was interesting was the whole boycott on Nordstrom. When Nordstrom dropped Ivanka Trump's line. So Trump got really mad that Nordstrom did that. So Nordstrom had like this huge plunge in like their stocks and like boycott Nordstrom. Now their stock's higher than it was previously. So I mean, it just goes to show that like this stuff is just very reactionary. It's
Right.
very heated. It's knee jerk and it's stupid.
Yeah,
It's
I 100% agree. I finally pulled up the what it said on his, and it said, believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything, which
yeah,
which I can understand the sentiment behind it.
yeah.
Um, so
And
my
even that is
no, go
oh
for it.
sorry.
No, go for it.
I was going to interrupt because I don't know if you read, but did you read? So that slogan right there caused more controversy because the wife, what is her last name? You know like the movie American Sniper and the story of that sniper in
No,
military.
no.
Um, anyway, you know, being you know a widower um, of a military person, you know, she came at Nike and Colin for
Why?
this particular slogan. Hold on, let me read what she said because I can get it to you in just a few seconds.
Is it like attributed to her
Okay.
or?
Um. Yeah. So it's Chris Kyle, and she was the widow of the American Sniper,
Hmm.
and she essentially wrote a post, just kind of calling this out. She was like, you know, what exactly did he sacrifice? A career? At best, that is all he sacrificed. Some money, and it's debatable if he really lost his career over it. How about other warriors who are not on magazine covers, who will not get lucrative contracts and millions of followers from their actions, who have truly sacrificed everything? They did it because they believed in something. Take it from me, when I say they sacrificed everything, they also sacrificed the lives of their loved ones who will never be the same. That is sacrificing everything for something they believe in.
I mean, so I get what she's saying, but do you remember when oh my God, the name Caitlyn, what's her last name? Jenner,
Jenner?
Caitlyn Jenner. So do you remember when she went through her transformation and she went on the
Sure.
ESPYs or whatever, right? And people were calling her courageous for that, right? So then
Hmm.
everyone else came out of the woodwork and they were like, "How dare you call her courageous? No, it's not courageous. Courage is blah 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 blah, or fighting in a
Yeah.
war, or whatever, whatever, right?" And it's like there are many levels of courageous. Like
Sure.
there's no monopoly on what courage is, right?
Sure.
And so I get what she's saying, but there's no monopoly on sacrifice. Like, did he sacrifice something for what he stood for? Yes. Did her husband sacrifice something for what he stood for? Yes. They're both sacrifices. There's no winning when you start comparing that. Not David Chappelle. What his most recent comedy routine was fucking hilarious, but he said the same thing. When people try to compare suffering, like I suffer, you suffer, we suffer, you gain nothing by comparing suffrage between one another,
Sure.
right? This is kind of the same thing. Like, did he sacrifice something? Yes, it's not the same thing that your husband sacrificed, but it is indeed a sacrifice. So I
It
get
is.
where she's coming from, but I don't like the spin on
Yeah. So you said it nicer than I was going to say it, but I
it.
essentially agree. And it's exactly what you said. You don't know the in and outs of his life. You don't know if being an NFL player was something he always wanted to be, and this
Right,
is sacrificing his dream because it essentially landed him into being boycott from it forever. Like he made sacrifices, and to him that could have been everything. And even if the spinoff of him doing that is a lucrative contract with Nike or some sort of other sponsorship. That only came after he initially made that sacrifice. He
right,
did not know where he was going to land. He didn't know what was going to happen to him afterwards. He had no idea. So just because there are other avenues that picked him up or carried him along or helped him out or he became an icon or he's important now, these are all things after the fact and weren't a part of his initial sacrifice
right,
and his initial thought about what his life would be like when he did it. And just because he ended up coming out unscathed doesn't change that initial action.
right. And
So,
there's some. So I don't want to speak out of line, but I'm sure she got some kind of kickbacks or something from the American Sniper movie and book that are out. So
oh, oh,
watch what you're saying because I'm pretty sure you got some
oh,
kickbacks from your husband's sacrifice.
oh,
Um, God, I forgot what I was gonna say. That just made me very upset when I
oh,
realized that. I was like,
that
wait.
tea. Oh my God. Where's my cup?
um,
Sit that back down.
God, I forgot even what I was gonna say now. I just got blinded with rage for a moment.
Well, it's that kind of hypocrisy, right? That
Yeah.
people kind of say, and I mean that is like you said. There's always there's people want to compare levels that they did more than someone else, or XYZ is bigger reason or stronger reason or more
Right.
upsetting or whatever. And it's like, no, he
Oh,
still sacrificed.
I know what I was gonna say. So there is I can pick up on a thread that she's kind of weaving here is that celebrities a celebrity's sacrifice is magnified more than people that actually do go to war in the Army, Navy, Marines, things like that, that do sacrifice their lives for our country.
Sure.
So, for instance, Whitney Houston's death, Michael Jackson's death, Burt Reynolds' death, for example, everyone knows about that.
Yeah.
Um, Aretha Franklin recently passed away. Had like a
Yeah.
fucking 9 hour funeral. Like, who does that?
Yeah. Right.
Only black people would have like a 9, 10 hour funeral.
I mean, church is 4 hours by itself.
Right.
So,
So, I mean, I could agree with her that maybe the celebration of sacrifice may be misplaced sometimes. I can get behind her on that. Or not sacrifice, that's a but like
well,
well
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
well yeah.
that's what she's going for either. Like, I don't want to extend her that olive branch. Like, she's having this big discussion, guys, this 1,000-foot view discussion about celebrity,
Well, I mean,
anything.
I mean, but
But
I think that's what she's trying to. If you ignore some of the other hypocrisies of her statement,
mhm,
I think that's what she's trying to drill down to in not so elegant words. Is that she would. I mean, let's think about it. Like, I only know the American Sniper via the movie, which I never saw, so I only know of
sure.
it through trailers, right? That's my only
Yeah.
reference point to that. But and I'm sure that's probably the same reference point to other people who aren't in the army, who aren't in the military, right?
Yeah.
So my only connection to Kirkpatrick, how do you say his last name? Kirkpatrick?
Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. My only relation to Kaepernick is I don't really watch football,
Yeah.
but I only know of the controversy, right?
Hmm.
And those are my only two reference points to each one. But a buttload of people know more about him than do the American Sniper, right?
Sure.
And I'm sure that you can argue that he's done good for society and things like that, but also this man went to war, which is a terrible thing to even be, fathom,
Hmm.
defending our country. So at least they should be put on equal footing when it comes to, if we're saying don't put one sacrifice over another, then sure, let's treat all sacrifice equal. And I don't think in the general public it is equal, if that makes any sense.
It does, but now we're kind of arguing a large societal issue and not anything specifically Nike has done or anything like that. Because for people who are NFL players and celebrities, like, and stuff like that, they're always in front of people. Like, you
Right,
could even
right.
argue that part of their sacrifice being who they are is lack of privacy, lack of being able to do anything without paparazzi down your throat. But
Right.
ignoring that part, this makes me, her argument is very akin to me of the argument about increasing the wage of people at fast food places because EMTs only make $15 an hour. And EMTs they do a more important job. So why would I put them on the same? It's like this importance thing. She's implying that these celebrities and what they do aren't as important as like these lives of these, essentially. I mean, to me it sounds like other vets,
Okay.
other veterans, other military,
Mhm.
and it's like, so the fault of that is mainstream media in Hollywood that's been doing this shit forever,
Oh,
or instead of having a dumbass military parade, why don't we actually try to find those stories and highlight them?
uh,
Conservative party, who's the party of the military, who thinks these stories are so important. How about you uplift those things
no, right,
instead?
right,
Go
right.
ahead.
I agree. I think it's an inverse. So what you said is equivalent to, I think what she's saying is just the inverse. She's instead of saying
She's trying to bring him down when I'm saying lift that up.
okay, got it. Yes, at that point I agree. Right, right.
Yeah, because I mean, she has the power of a as a the widower of a vet to have these kind of things. I mean, make an organization that goes to schools and like tell stories, get kids involved in like the military. Like, I mean, like my family is military. Like my
Right.
grandfather and both my uncles, like they're all military, and it's one of those things where the glorification of the military here is, what's the best way to put it? I want to say like two-faced. Like, on one hand, the reason we're having this debacle with Nike is because not only did Colin disrespect, the country, he disrespect the military.
Right.
And that causes this outrage where the NFL has to burn down and lose viewership and money. And Nike can't sign this guy. And Colin's career should be ruined. Versus, you know, people in the military still don't make no fucking money.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think like even their like life insurance is like really low because there's some expectation of them dying, so you're not going to pay a lot, so they're
Right.
not going to get a lot of money for their family. And anyone else working any like white collar job is making three, four, five times the amount of this hero being sent all over the world, doing all this stuff, possibly dying with a life insurance policy of like $300,000 because he might trip and fall down the staircase at his 100-foot elevator, like 100-foot level job. And it's just like one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, the like I have a point here, but it's hard to dig through all of just the
Well,
bullshit that's on top of
I
it.
think it's kind of a hypocrisy of the argument that Kirkpatrick is disrespecting the military, right? Because
Yeah,
that's what it usually comes down to. Is what there's a patriotic, you're just disrespecting country, and then there's like you're disrespecting the military. The patriotic version is like that's a different argument. So I'm gonna stick
sure.
strictly to like the military. So people say that he's disrespecting the military, but then ignore the fact that we spend over 50% of our budget in the military, yet the
And it just
military,
went up, I think.
well, yeah, it's almost up to 55%, something really dumb.
Well, he just gave them a raise too, so that's part of why it
Oh,
went up.
and also denying the raise to other government workers. Good job, Trump.
Yes.
So, but we pump so much money into the military construct. Why are our vets treated so shitty? Like the VA hospitals are
Perfect.
shit. Like
Yeah.
why is the military personnel being treated like shit? Like ultimately,
Oh, and homeless people. A lot of
yeah,
them
a
are
lot of them are vets
vets.
also. Yeah, exactly. Going back to our previous
So
conversation.
yeah, so it's kind of like I don't know. It's almost feels like the most we can do for our military is literally this very shallow, like I don't know. It's almost like the inside joke is we know their lives suck and we know the time that they deal with is horrible. So at least we can get them the VA, the vet discount at Denny's. That's the
Right.
least we can do for our
We can
services.
save them ten
Like,
percent at a movie.
yeah, like I feel like that's like all we can really do. And I think there's a struggle of just like we just know it's shit. But the country doesn't want to shape or change things in a way to make it any better.
Right.
And then I think that's why she is probably angry. And while there might be other vets or people who know vets that are angry. But that's not the fault of Nike, and that's not the fault of Colin.
Right.
And that's the fault of our government and our country overall in the way they treat, you know, jobs of importance or
Right.
things of importance. And honestly, again, on a right leaning conservative side of things, this is supposed to be y'all baby.
Yeah.
And y'all don't do shit. So before you come at Nike, who's been a very left leaning company for a long time about their viewpoints, you need to clock your own representatives, clock your own president, and clock the same people y'all vote for over and over and over again who don't change shit.
Right.
Because all that money that we pay in taxes that you think is okay to give them when they're just getting a raise now literally gets flooded into a bunch of fucking weapons research and projects that
Right.
a shit ton of them don't go anywhere and we waste money
Yeah.
all the time.
And also, let's not even hit on the fact that all that military talk was really good. We had a really good conversation. That's not the point. Like that was
Nope.
not the point of him protesting. You guys are all missing the goddamn point. Like it's
That's
a
because Trump told them that it was literally Trump. It was literally Trump who's like, this is disrespecting the military. Because if you listen to Colin, you know, when you ask the guy why he kneeled, he fucking told
yeah.
you. He said exactly why he was doing it. Now, if you want to argue police brutality, is it really racial profiling? Like, is that statistic correct? That's a whole other thing.
Right.
And that's part of the debate that needs to happen.
Exactly. We need to start there.
But going right to disrespecting the military is just too much. And I mean, we've watched it spiral out of control now. So,
God. And I sent you the link. Ford Motor Company recently put out a statement saying that they respect the right of NFL players to protest.
That's really messing up some conservatives right now. They're
Oh,
looking at that Ford
you're
F-350 in the garage like, do I burn it now? I still own it.
right.
Like,
And
will insurance cover this?
right. So I kind of want to take a step back, and when I heard this story, my first thought was, is um, does
Which
Nike?
one? Just
No, no, not the
oh,
Ford
Nike
one.
choosing?
Right, right, right.
Okay.
I wanted to think about, is Nike doing this for profit? Because we mentioned this earlier. I don't know if that episode actually went out, but we were talking about Pride, and the Pride here in Minneapolis feels very commercial. Like
Sure.
you only hear about like these people that come out only during Gay Pride, like, oh yeah, we're LGBTQ RST
Yeah.
friendly, right? But only for that weekend, because 363 days out of the year you don't see shit out of
Yeah.
them, right? And
Yeah.
so
See, that's gonna give you a whole other thing. I don't know if that episode went out. Go ahead and continue.
but that's what my thought was. My first thought was like, oh, that's cool. I like the message that Nike is presenting. My next message was, do they honestly believe this message, or are they pandering to that crowd? Are they pandering to the minorities who buy their shoes and fucking kill each other for some $100 sneakers? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
are they pandering to us, or do they actually mean what they say?
Right. And I mean, who knows until they say it, right? One thing I did hear is that it is believed that this is a move to pressure the NFL because of the sponsorship and collaboration that the Nike has with the NFL.
Right.
There is a belief that Nike making this choice puts more pressure on the NFL to do what's right by the players. So it might just be like this kind of multi-tiered system
Hmm.
where, I mean, obviously this was a calculated risk.
Right.
They knew they would get backlash. They knew they'd get some crazy people. And I think they knew it was probably okay. Because if we just look at the stocks by itself, apparently I was reading something, the Nike stocks were already like way inflated anyway. Like
Hmm.
their stocks were just like through the roof anyhow. So for them to even go this route is kind of like there's something. There's some part of that I do think that there's an intentional to them moral reason to go ahead and do this now.
Hmm.
Um, on top of everything. And then on top of it, can they make some money out of it too? They probably think they can.
Right.
Or at the very least, the hit they think they will receive isn't going to either A, be long lasting, which, like I said before, none of them have been so
Right.
far. So they're like, whatever, we'll bounce back afterwards. This is the right thing to do. So let's
Hmm.
just do it. Um, and pandering, I don't know. Like, I do feel we're kind of at a point where there's more and more corporations as politics get more and more crazy that feel like they need to kind of step in the ring and also be political. Like
Yeah.
it's happening more and more. And like Nike did it. There's so many other ones I can't even think of right now.
Yeah.
But like there's all these companies who are like just jumping in the ring and saying we feel this or this. I mean, even when we were talking about like increasing the wage in places, there was a lot of companies like Aetna that came up and said, yeah, we're going to increase our minimum wage to $16 because it's wrong to pay our employees this little and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to be that company. And by default, it puts pressure on other companies of similar status
Hmm.
to say, hey, we did it. Why didn't you? And
Yeah.
then by default, there is a certain part of that is marketing
Hmm.
and branding where, another maybe left-leaning company that feels the same way wants to set up their insurance through Aetna and not Cigna because Aetna has these values. It's all multi-tiered and a lot of working pieces
Right.
that I'm sure they had plenty of talks about in like conference rooms for
Right.
days and days and
Like
days.
my thought is always on intention. Like, what are your intentions? Like, I think that's like number
Yeah.
one above everything else. Is why are you doing this thing? Um, and because I'm sure that companies have always had these thoughts beforehand,
I'm sure.
but they thought that it would either hurt the company or it saying we want a high minimum wage, or saying that we don't discriminate against LGBTQ or whatever, right?
Hmm.
Um, wasn't, I don't want to say wasn't profitable, but didn't help the company at all. And so it's one of those things that's like, are you saying, like, if you truly believe that, sure, good for you, fine, whatever. But only saying it because now it benefits you, or now you can turn a profit, or now this puts you in a good light, that's like, I mean, you're saying the right things, but you're not doing them for the right reasons, if that makes any
Sure,
sense.
it does. And I mean, it's hard to tell too because this is like, the first year or so or two of Trump.
Hmm.
And you could argue that over the last 8 years before that, they weren't worried about it because there was a black man as president. So there was less need to be like that because it
Right.
felt like that was the general atmosphere they were in, where these weren't things to make heart stands for. And that's why I kind of go back to like, not to go back on the pride thing, but yeah, these companies only show up during Pride, but a lot of them have like anti and zero tolerance bullying and harassment policies for LGBTQ people. A lot of them have insurance that covers transitional drugs for trans people. Like a lot of these companies do have a natural atmosphere that does
Right.
cater and benefit people of that community. So while they are coming out that one time in public with this rainbow stuff, internally they do live and breathe an air of acceptance
Hmm.
for that community in general. And I always felt it was very harsh to kind of just knock them like that, even though there was a hilarious one of a meme of Sailor Moon. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that one makes me so laugh. Just like CMS comes out with all the branding on, and
Yeah.
it's Pride. And he's like, "My job here is done," and then Sam was like, "But you didn't do anything," and he just flies off. Okay, that makes me laugh like crazy. But in reality, they really are doing more
Hmm.
consistently outside of that. And like, I mean, even when, because I was working with a nonprofit back in Arizona, and we were going around talking to those businesses. I mean, a lot of them donate to LGBT charities. Like every single one I spoke with donated to 1 in 10,
Hmm.
which is the one for like kids that were removed from their homes or kicked out of their homes, for being a part of the community.
Right.
So I mean, they all do more, guys. They really do. Stop hating like this. Like, I mean, I get it. I get, just seeing them, it gets old, and it's just people who seem like they want your money. But they really do more beyond that.
Yeah, and
Um,
I guess if they were more, I don't know how you make that more front facing, because in hindsight, you're right. I can't. I don't know what the company's doing. All I see is them showing up every year, right? There are some things like not Svedka. There's another vodka alcohol company that has rainbow branded keychain openers. Whatever. It's neither here or there. Uh, but I guess if they were more, and I don't know how you become more forward with that to say, hey, we're doing more things in the background. Here's what we're doing. Like that
yeah,
that puts the onus on me to research the company to make sure they're legit. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. Just
yeah,
tell me, like show
yeah.
me. And, all right,
Like,
I'll believe you.
like for instance, I think it was in Phoenix. PayPal was there,
Hmm.
and PayPal had a bunch of its own employees who were LGBTQ promoting it, talking about how they loved working there, talking about the things they did for the community, and they were hiring. So they want you to come work there too.
Right.
So like there's and then you also got to remember too that usually if the company is there selling stuff in the festival, they were also in the parade. So more often than not, that's your brothers and sisters in the community walking their asses out in the heat to show that they are supporting this company too,
Right.
which makes it pretty clear that that's a safe or decent company at least to work for.
Right.
It's not like Chick-fil-A shows up at the Pride company. Like what I'm saying, like
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
a company that is against you isn't going to be there to support it. And that would be a serious cash grab because they could literally care less for you but your money.
Right.
So yeah, I was kind of like, we need to leave these people alone. Though that's Sailor Moon memes.
but
Funny.
but I always have that in the back of my head, and that is a very vocal minority, and I've seen some other people like online, like on Twitter and shit, make that statement. They're like saying, "Hey, Nike's cool and all, but their sometimes their work conditions aren't the greatest. They use sweatshops in other third world
Yeah,
countries.
children, child labor.
Like, congrats for Nike, but you guys need to clean your house before you invite people over for a party, for real."
Yeah, that was another meme that was funny. It was a SpongeBob SquarePants one with Squidward, where it was talking about like, oh, y'all don't boycott Nike until, and then it has like the list of like the child labor, the sweatshops, and Squidward's asleep, and then it's like hiring a black man for your campaign. And Squidward wakes up and his like eyes are red
Yeah.
with his stuff. You know, it's very interesting that both sides have very targeted. Um, it feels like every boycott is very targeted in ignoring the context of other stuff. Like for instance, the only other boycott I know of is In-N-Out Burger. Did you read about that one?
No, that one's a new one.
Oh yeah. So the left are, the left has decided that they're boycotting In-N-Out now
Why?
because they found out that they were donating to some GOP candidates.
Okay.
That's it. So that makes them conservative. So,
So,
and it's literally that simple. So there's two things. Let me just finish because it's just that dumb. So first off, if you dig more into who In-N-Out donates to, they also donate to left candidates as well. They donate to both.
okay.
First off, and then in terms of like worker condition, In-N-Out is like one of the highest
Yeah.
paid fast food places ever with like some of the best benefits and working conditions for the people there.
Yep.
This is not a company to cut off at the knees. So again, it goes to show just like it just takes this one bullet point in like 72-point Comic Sans, bold italic, underline, and you ignore all the other shit involved. And that is the main focus.
Yeah.
We're not eating at In-N-Out because they donated to this GOP candidate. Screw how much they pay. Screw how well the workers are treated. And screw that they also donate. So,
Right.
like, just fuck it all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so weird.
And
I don't-
it's funny that both sides of the argument also like the ones that are for Nike and the ones that are against Nike both ignore the fact that Nike probably is a kind of a shitty company when you boil it right down to it.
yeah, they could be. I mean, I don't know enough about them to truly know, but
Well, I know their working conditions are terrible and all that other stuff, like the inner
well, that's
workings.
not- yeah.
Yeah, but like the inner workings, like in America, I don't know. But that's kind of beside the point because you still have sweatshops that hire kids to make your shoes. That's a non-starter. I'm sorry.
yeah, Apple too. Apple was in trouble for that stuff for a while too. If I remember.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually,
So-
ooh, that. So that story is really interesting. Really side tangent. So if I remember this correctly, someone who went over there went to NPR and said, "Hey, this shit's happening, right?" And NPR looked at the story, and there were some things they were kind of fishy, but some other things made sense. So they went back to their source. They were like, "Hey, are you sure that this is happening? Because there are some inconsistencies here." He said, "Yeah, sure, they are." So then the NPR thought about it and then ran the story. We're like, working conditions suck at Foxconn, blah, 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 right? The people that are making the iPhones have no idea that they're making iPhones, right?
Mhm.
So then they got some pushback and they actually had to retract that story because when they went further and further down the rabbit hole, it turned out that the guy was selling the story for money because he went to other places to give that story, and every other
Sure.
place he went to, the story was different. And there were a bunch of
Oh.
other inconsistencies when they dig deeper and deeper and deeper, right? So, do working conditions suck over there? Yeah, they do, but they're not as bad as what we thought they were.
Okay.
Yeah, I would highly suggest looking up that NPR story and the retraction, because NPR had to eat a lot of crow, and they very, very rarely have to do that. Like, it's fascinating.
They finally got you.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's just interesting that both sides are ignoring. I don't want to call it a big deal, but they tend to sweep things under the rug that could either detract from their point or could make their stance weaker. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, they supported this guy who knelt, but this company also has sweatshops. Yeah, the guy that they promoted didn't stand for the national anthem, but they still have sweatshops with kids in them, and their workers make
yeah,
pennies on the dollar. Hmm.
yeah. Well, I mean, it goes to show what's more important
Yeah.
in the grand scheme. And for now, at least here in America, it's blue right now. That's all points in relation to that is just like clearly at the top of the list for everything.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now
Yep.
in
Yep.
America, unfortunately.
Yep.
All right, what
All
is our
right.
next story?
Um, Alex Jones, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Let's talk about that really
Oh
quick.
my goodness. Oh, you can go on that because you're the one that gave me that
Uh,
story.
uh, all right. So, listeners of the show, of all three other episodes, know that we've been talking about Alex Jones every so often. He recently got the ban hammer from Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, and other places because they violated the terms of service for hate speech and all that other jazz, right? Twitter did not follow, which was an odd exemption, even though Alex Jones did the exact same kind of content on the Twitter platform, right?
And he got flack for it too. The CEO
Right.
actually tried to defend his reasoning, and that didn't go over well with anybody.
No. So about a week later, Alex Jones got a week ban, I want to say. 1 week, not a week ban. 7 days. For something he posted. And so people were like, getting closer, you're almost there, Twitter, right? So then after his ban was lifted, he kept posting this shit and eventually Twitter was like, alright, I guess we're fucking banning you since you want to keep doing this shit. So let me look up this article really quick. I just had it up. Um, Twitter. Excuse me, I just went into puberty. Twitter said the ban was a result of new reports of tweets and videos posted yesterday that violated our abusive behavior policy, in addition to the account's past violations. Now, the account's past violations is funny.
I thought there was anything.
Exactly. I thought there weren't any
I
past.
thought he
Alec.
hadn't done anything.
Yeah, Twitter. Funny how that all of a sudden came to light. Yep.
Huh. Wow.
So he got the ban hammer. When did this posted? This was posted earlier today, like 3 hours ago. Yep. So Alex Jones is officially no more on social media, unless there's some other other social media that no one ever uses except for like four people that I don't know about.
All his followers will flock him to it.
Yeah, and I'm sure something else about Alex. So every time we record, something about Alex Jones comes up. We didn't talk about it last week because it was already a very long episode at that point. But we were going to, but we just
Mhm.
didn't do it. But every week, it's like the Alex Jones minute where we check up on our good boy Alex Jones and see what he's been up to,
Yeah,
what kind of day he's having.
I know. And now he's touching Marco Rubio.
Oh, yeah. The stupid thing is that the news cycle covers, because I saw that come across my news feed and I was like, why is this on my news feed? Like, I get it's Alex Jones, but it's fucking stupid. Just like how there was reports of his show being taken off the air, but in actuality of someone who was illegally broadcasting, and I was like, that's not a story.
Mhm.
That's fucking stupid. No one cares about this.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, the last thing to kind of tie it up now that he's officially got the ban hammer is that him and Marco Rubio got into it. Um, where the big highlight of it all is that Alex Jones touches Marco on the shoulder, and Marco's like, "Don't touch me," and they're having one of those weird like in the locker room kind of situations that leads into some sort of softcore porno kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it's just Alex Jones thinks he wants to fight him, and then Alex Jones makes some remarks about Marco Rubio, essentially implying he's gay. You know, just like telling him to go back to the bathhouse, compromise at the bathhouse. It's just all this weird stuff that's just very, very Alex Jones. I mean,
God.
bathhouses, there's frogs in there who are already turned gay. I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on there. But
God.
the whole thing started essentially was because Marco Rubio was actually talking about companies silencing people on their platforms, which was right in line with what Alex Jones started harassing Marco about, which was like, what about, these companies that, silence Republican voices? And Marco Rubio is clearly doing the basic politician talk of being very like down the middle, obviously saying he doesn't think things are good ideas. Clearly, Republican channels and voices are being a part of that group. And Alex Jones, I guess, just wants him to be either more direct or more outspoken or more attack dog on those companies or something.
Right.
And that starts this whole drama, even though Marco Rubio is literally agreeing.
Yeah.
Literally agreeing, if you would listen to him. But who knows? He has to go back to his bathhouse now. So. I don't know.
Yeah, that man. We'll check up next week on our Alex Jones Minute to see what Alex Jones does next.
I don't know. I mean, he's probably going to do a lot more to stay relevant at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if he can find a platform to do it on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure TMZ will start watching him at this point.
Oh my
God.
God.
Be, like, saying all sorts of stuff.
Fucking hate TMZ. TMZ is the worst. Oh my God. Don't even get started on that trash.
Well, we do not have to get started on that trash.
Yes, let's not. Actually, let's go ahead and cut it here. This seems like a good place. We're almost at an hour.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, I was like, maybe 4 more. But I guess the last thing I will just plug in real quick, not really a story we probably need to talk about, but India, if you saw that.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Gay sex.
Yeah.
The landmark ruling. So, yay, India. Let's get going. Jesus.
It shouldn't have been. Yeah, it shouldn't have been an issue anyway. But hooray for not being dumb.
Yes, it takes us all a long time to get there sometimes.
I mean, hell, gay marriage was legalized here just a couple of years ago. So I mean, America isn't that far ahead, to be honest.
And there are still states that do find sodomy illegal. So I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of investigations they do for that.
Right, but
it is.
Yeah, whatever. But congrats to India for not being stupid.
Yes.
The winner is you.
We should start making that. We should make this fake like trophy award, and we just had that like the not stupid anymore award, and like the dumbest bitch of the day award goes to.
Oh my God! If you make that list, I'll figure out something to do with it.
Because that would be funny.
You make the list, and I'll figure out something to do.
Yeah, because sometimes people stop being dumb, and you have to congratulate them on that.
Yes, I 100% agree. Yeah.
You're being right now? What? That's so hard in this day and age.
Welcome to the group. Cookies cookies over there. He's supposed to punch us right there.
Yeah. Oh, soldiers speak out on Kaepernick. His protest makes him more American than anyone. Okay.
Wait, who said that?
Some soldiers. It was a random article.
Oh.
I mean, I've seen both sides.
You're going to see, that's, we're going to go back to this. Fuck it. We're going to keep going. This is what irritates me is there's people, let me take that back. We live in a time where the only thing that websites care about are clicks, right? And so what happens is you get them saying soldiers agree with Kaepernick, right? And then they run with that article, and then everyone on this side's like, "Yay! This article says soldiers blah 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 blah." And then some people are like, "Actually, no, soldiers think this," and soldiers are like, "Fuck Kaepernick," and everyone's like, "Yeah, fuck Kaepernick." And
It's
it's
like both sides are Goku charging spirit bomb. Like, give me your energy. So his article feeds into it, it gets bigger.
and then they're so dumb that they don't realize that they're both of equal power because there were fucking two sides to every story, and maybe you should read both sides, see what the fuck they're talking about. It irritates the fuck out of me. Oh my god. Oh.
And then, like we discussed, at the end of the day, this had nothing to do with being anti-American or anti-military. So everyone's dumb.
Right, everyone's dumb. Everybody's fucking wrong.
Yeah, even if you're saying, this the military supports this, it's still not the point. They're only saying they have to support it because these other dumb fucks were told that this is a problem.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh my god. I had to get that out.
No, I'm right there with you.
God.
It's some dumb shit.
So fucking stupid. All right.
Oh, this is just a collection of all the soldiers that have already... Yeah, I've seen most of these stories. This is just kind of like a group. A collection of all the soldiers who...
Right.
said they were supporting him a while ago. So, nothing new here, really. But,
Yeah.
Most interesting thing with Colin Kaepernick, though, that I want to see, just to kind of tie this up, is before, I think he's suing someone. Like, I think he's actually trying to sue the NFL.
He's suing the NFL, right.
Yeah. For essentially blacklisting him. And Arbiter just said, yeah, take it to court. So I
really?
don't know how that's going to go. Yeah, I really see how this goes. Because, would that not be the icing on the cake for him? For him to win? Oh, my goodness. Talking about the vindication. Talking about the vindication. Oh, and you going to get paid anyway. Because, I mean, just statistically, and that's one thing you always use, and I'm going more into it now, but that's one thing you typically hear a lot of people say about Kaepernick is that, like, his stats were sucking, he wasn't very good anyway, he only did this to save his career, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, if you do talk about his stats, he wasn't the worst player, and he was actually better than a lot of the starting quarterbacks on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So he literally isn't worth being blacklisted if we're talking about stats. So shut up. Shut up. Done. Stop trying to act like you're using facts because you're stupid. Yeah, it was like, wait, I think they said like he was better than like 40% of like the starting quarterbacks or something. And I'm like, how does that get you blacklisted?
Right.
Like that doesn't make sense. So, I mean, clearly we all know what this was really about.
Right.
So hopefully that can be proven. I would like to think it could be, but
yeah, I want to, because then you get into weird things because like he's not employed by the NFL. It's a contract, and if there's things in the contract, blah 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 blah. Right? You get into like the corporate area where, yeah, maybe it's shitty that the NFL blacklisted him, but if that's part of the contract, then he really doesn't have a leg to stand on. You know what I mean? But if an arbiter is saying he can go for it, then something must be there that gives him a leg up. That says, hey, you can possibly win. So I hold my judgment until I see the evidence.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But no, we want to keep it short, so we're doing a good job. We're stopping now.
Yep, stopping now. We're not going to go another limit break. All right, so let's plug some shit. Destiny 2, the new expansion came out, so I've been playing that, which means that I haven't set up the Facebook group yet. Because it's such a good expansion. It's so good. It's so good.
Speaking of expansions, we're getting the previews for Return to Ravnica.
Oh,
and Magic the Gathering.
yes.
So if you've listened to us talk about it and if you got into the beta, you're still waiting to get in, check that stuff out.
Yep.
Kind of keeps you ahead of the curve in terms of what you may want to do when you start, or if you already got a plan on things.
Yep.
Because rotation, when does rotation happen? Did it
Early
already happen?
early October.
Okay, yeah. So got another month until a lot of stuff is
Yes.
cleaned up, so you'll be right on time with the new
Yep.
cards.
And the Kaladesh block rotates out, which is great. Amonkhet rotates out, which is not so great because Amonkhet's actually get set, but whatever.
Yeah, screw that cat deck. Get them cats out of here. So sick of those cats.
But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of video games and I've been really slacking off. I'll admit that. So my goal is to have our Facebook up by next Thursday, by the next time we record. It's going to be facebook.com/, 2 cups of black coffee. Hopefully, no one has taken that. I've even gone through the motions to even see if that's even a thing. If it is, that's what it's going to be.
Hopefully he survives this convention, so it'll be up.
Oh shit, that's right. Furry migration. Well, I'll do it during the week because I am not doing shit except for drinking and fucking at migration.
There you go.
Yep.
You heard it first here. He's just drinking and fucking, guys.
um, so I've got our Facebook group up. That's going to be up by Thursday. I am going to have. I have parts of episodes edited. But YouTube takes for fucking ever. Well, okay, they take forever to render because I'm rendering in a high def, so that takes for fucking ever. And then it takes for fucking ever to upload to YouTube because they're in high def and they're bigger. Blah. Anyway, the YouTube channel should be set up by next Thursday. Search for 2 cups of black coffee. We don't have our own custom URL yet. We get our custom URL at 100 subscribers or followers or whatever the fuck it is on YouTube. I don't know yet. I'm not a YouTuber. We're just learning this shit. So, click that like button, smash the subscribe bell, whatever it does to make us get that URL, do that. To recap,
Yeah.
facebook.com/, 2 cups of black coffee. YouTube, look for 2 cups of black coffee in the search bar. That should get us to our channel. All that should be up. We're going to have a nice little site. It's still a work in progress, but at least we have the foundation. So, look for those two in a week. As far as streaming, I'm not going to be streaming because I'm going to be working on this shit. Because if I'm streaming, I'm not. So, I'm not going to be doing a streaming for the next week or two while I get all this shit together. You got anything you want to plug before we go ahead and head out?
Not at all. I think we are good.
All right. Well, thank you for listening and watching this episode of 2 Cups of Black Coffee. You guys have a great night.
Have a good night.